Afternoon, everyone. We're going to give everybody a couple minutes just to hop on for this webinar. I know we're going a week early this month compared to our normal last Thursday of the month. Starting next month, we will go back to that last Thursday. This month, we're going to be talking about loyalty and eCare with ThriVersA. So just give everybody a minute and then we will get started. All right, guys, let's kick things off. Again, thank you for attending this month's Lunch and Learn. Jen is going to be going over loyalty and eCare within ThriVersA. So Jen, when you are ready, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Christina. As Christina stated, today's webinar, we're going to focus on loyalty / eCare, specifically in ThriVersA. I'm going to go over basic loyalty using ThriVersA and then dive into the additional features that eCare does offer. It's a lot of reporting features that you can utilize when you're using ThriVersA with loyalty, and then I'm going to just touch on a few additional modules that you can add on to the eCare module and how you can use that. So I'm going to bring up eCare. If you've been watching our previous webinars, we have been going through a lot of ThriVersA, and we've been sticking mostly to the Manage module. So today it's going to be the eCare module. So if you are looking to access this, up here in the address, this is really the core part of what tells you what module you're in. So it's always going to be the server IP, the port, / eSuite / what module you're in, so care, then index.html. Easy way to navigate between them, you can click on the lock logo up here, and you can navigate between the different ones. So like I said, we spend a lot of time in the Manage. That's kind of the financial, the reporting, the main module. So up here at the top is Care. So if you're wanting to navigate to Care, you can just click on the logo from the Manage and go into the Care. A little bit of a difference when you're in the Care is the dashboard. You can see right here, we still have this week versus last week and the weekly top 10 departments. Those are still showing, but now you're going to get some loyalty information. So right here, you have your sales by week, by shopper level, and your weekly averages. So you're going to get kind of some more analytical marketing information when you're looking at this. So you can see your average that's being spent by basket dollar, price, basket items, and the loyalty ratio, the ratio of loyalty customers versus non-loyalty customers. And then over here, you always have your summary, your daily, weekly net sales. That'll always show up in almost every single module as you're going through ThriVersA. So like I said, to start with, I'm going to go through just some basic loyalty in ThriVersA. So over here in the drop-down, we're going to go into customers, and we're going to go into masters and customer auxiliaries. So master, this is where you're going to be doing your customer maintenance. This is also where the reports that have been brought over from SMS into ThriVersA have been brought over. So these reports will look a little familiar: single total, multi-total, compare totals, transaction details. These were all available in SMS. They've been ported over into ThriVersA. There's just more flexibility about like running the reports and customizing the reports as you would like. And then the discount analysis, item totals, profitability. These are some additional reports that have been enhanced when they brought over to ThriVersA, so you can actually see what your most profitable customers are. If you're going to start doing a deep dive into marketing, things like that, that will really help you out. But to start with, again, we're just going to go into how do you do maintenance. So right here up at the top above that first line, you have your general list, and then you have new. New is pretty self-explanatory. If you're adding a new customer, this is where you're going to want to go into. So you would just click on new. You need a unique customer ID. So you just would use phone number, customer card, whatever it is that you're using. Go ahead and put that in there. Hit enter. It's going to say customers not found. You want to add a new customer. Yes. and then you can start populating in the fields. The same rules apply as to what you have to do in SMS versus ThriVersA. The essential fields are still going to be that it has to have a shopper level that's located right here, and you have to have a risk level right here. So what this is going to do, and I'm going to go into this in a moment, is the shopper level dictates what discounts and points programs, loyalty offerings really, that these customers have access to. And the risk level is what level of risk are you willing to take with these customers, specifically with taking paper checks and with house charges, credit. If you're going to be offering that kind of enhancement to your loyalty program, that would be what the risk level does. So that's the essential things that you must have with every customer. The rest of it is up to you what kind of information you would like to gather. First name, last name, legal name, if you have any comments you want to have show up, birth date, if you have any customer groupings, gender, status. So if you have like a not active or not active customer, maybe you don't want to send an electronic receipt, you can set that there. Your address, right down here, city, state, country, zip code, all of that information. Emails becoming more prevalent. That would be all information you want to fill in. Going through the tabs at the bottom down here, you can get a little bit more information. So if you want to have when the account was created, if you have a multi-store, when store that this customer was created at, if they have a different shipping address, if you have any limits, if you're running a fuel program, you can set limits here, and just some miscellaneous information. This really will be whatever information you would like to gather from the customer to have in your system. If you are going to be doing a deeper dive into loyalty, you're going to start doing like maybe marketing. I do suggest that the more information you have, the better. And I'm going to show you why in a few minutes, because you can build customer lists based on this information. You can build customer lists based on customer age. So if you have the birth date filled out, you could have like a customer list built off of that, so you can kind of see if there's trends with the customers coming in at certain times of the day maybe, or at least certain days of the week. Is it going to be like a certain age range that's coming in that you could potentially get like targeted offers to target those customers? Or you could do like build a customer list based off birthday. So if they're coming in that month, they get like a special coupon. You can do that. And state, zip code, you want to see where your customers are coming in for. The more information you have, the better for that purpose. But if you don't want to have that information, bare minimum, you must have a shopper level and you must have a risk level. This has not changed with SMS going into ThriVersA. So once you build that customer, if you come into general list, this is now where you can do like general customer maintenance. So if you're going to come in to pre-existing customers, this would be where you're going to go into your general list. And you can type in a customer ID, alternate code, look by their legal name, phone number, and then more criteria right here. I'm going to click on, this is, like I said, where you can start building some of those customer lists like I was talking about. So you can look up customers in a variety of different ways. It's very flexible. You can by cell phone, by city, by country. So like I said, if you have certain regions, you want to see what customers are coming from those regions. Obviously, first name, last name. If you have certain risk level or shopper level, or not a specific shopper level, state, zip code, anything like that. If you're running a points program, you want to build a customer list based off of they have a high balance or low balance in points. Offers, if you're doing targeted offers, you can see if they have a lot of offers assigned to them, so offer count higher than. Records, if they have any duplicates, you're trying to weed out the customers that maybe you have duplicate email, duplicate phone numbers, you want to kind of clean up your customer file. And then, like I said, marketing, that's where a lot of that can come into play. So like I said, you can do age greater than, age lower than, birth date, before, after, you can do a birth date period, you can do it by active store target, or your notification method if you chose email or cell phone, anything like that. So you can build a marketing list for this, or kind of like to see what customers are coming in and targeting those customers, or tracking those customers to look at what their purchasing is. I'm just going to leave it open-ended for now, just going to execute, and this is just going to bring up your customer list. If you've been watching with ThriVersA, same rules always apply. So you can come up here, you can do the drop down on columns, you can add any additional information. So if you're wanting to add the address, you can add the address in here. If you're wanting to look at that marketing, all of that marketing information, risk level, groups, all of that, you can add that. It'll come right across up here. You can subtract something you don't want. You can move any of these columns back and forth. You want to have the address first, whatever it may be. You can print this list. You can export it to Excel right here. So all of those options are always available up here. And anything, since this is a maintenance screen, anything that has a little triangle in the corner designates an editable field. So if I got this person's address right here, I got Eric Thomas's address right here, you can easily go ahead and pop the address in. Just got to double click in the field and you can go through and fill in that information. Same thing applies if you've done the item maintenance, but if it's highlighted in red, that means that you can just do a lot of fields without saving it. And then at the end, you can just come up here and just click mark the check button to save everything all at once. If you are more used to the layout with the tables, if this just isn't, making sense to you, you can come on under edit and you can edit the customer, and this will bring up the table format that I just showed you when we're adding new customers, very similar to what's available currently in SMS Pro. So you can have that up here as well. Like I said, and then from here, you can keep these lists. You can do a lot of actions and from this list, so you can do like a selection. So if you're wanting to assign an offer, if you want to send a notification, like an email to a list of customers, anything like that, if you want to initialize a new point program on a list of customers, all of that's available right here from the actions. You can just select the entire list or you can select just certain customers from it. If you wanted to do an analysis on the customer list, you can also do a deep dive into an analysis on the customer list. That's all available from here. And you can also edit some of those fields that I had brought up before, like the shopper level and the risk level. So if you come up under here, you can bring up your shopper level table and you can bring up your risk level table. I'll just bring those both up right here. So that way you can make any changes or at least view them here. So I don't have one assigned to that customer, but we can go ahead and add them. And this would be, like I said, this can be where these two are the essential tables that you use when you're doing shoppers, when you're doing loyalty, that you would need to do, tied to those customer records. So right here, your shopper level, this is going to be where, like I said, you're going to have that discounts and what promotions that they are available to take. So like in this case right here, you can set certain price levels, you can have a discount. So if you're wanting to make a shopper level that gives like a 10% discount, like an employee discount, you can put that in here. If you're selling it at cost, you can have a cost customer. And then down here is your points program. So if you're wanting to have these customers tied to a specific points program, this is where you would dictate what points program that anybody in the shopper level would get. So base native loyalty allows you to do 35 points programs. So it would be points program 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then A through Z. So that way you can be running multiple promotions at the same time. And this way you can also have only certain customers get certain promotions. So you could have a shopper level that's running points program 1, which is like a rolling points program. After like 500 points, they get $5 off their next order. And that could be points program 1. And then points program 2 could be like a coffee club. So after they purchase 10 coffees, they get the next one for free. So that could be points program 2 on one shopper level. Then another shopper level, they also qualify for that $5 points. So they would be part of points program 1, but not part of points program 2. They don't want to give them, they're not somebody who would be signed up for the coffee program. So you have a lot of control over that. Down here is where you set the method that they accumulate the points on the shopper level. So like I said, just kind of highlighting some that I said, that preset item alone would be for the coffee club, and then like entry amount preset item tender would be like they get it on everything, like that rolling points program for 1. And you set the rate, 1 point per penny, 1 point per dollar would be 1 point per 100 pennies. You can control like if they need a minimum sale, anything like that. They also are able to go into discounts, and you're able to dictate this shopper level if they get like an item discount. percentage or dollar amount, if they get coupon links right here, if they're qualifying any coupons that you may be running in the store. Because if you have like an employee discount program that's 10% off their entire order, you may not want to let them double dip, and you may want to uncheck these so they don't get those. But otherwise, you have another shopper level that they don't get a 10% off discount, so that you do want to allow them to get all of these. So it's very flexible. And then also you can set some upgrades. So if you're wanting to upgrade your customer, you can actually set the shopper levels to automatically do that. So maybe they don't, after they spend like $1,000 in a month, you can upgrade them to a new shopper level that gives them like a 5% discount, something like that, off their order for the rest of the month. So you can set that up here. You would just upgrade to a new level, set the new level here. The period would be by month. We just say current month. So after 1,000 points, they would upgrade to a new level. To say they'd upgrade to the points customer, and they start accumulating points, something like that. The other one is the risk level, so just bring that over. And like I said, this is really what level of risk you're willing to take with this customer, we'll say. And that is specifically towards really checks and house charges. So if you're not willing or not doing that at your store, I shouldn't say willing, but if you're not doing that at your store, any house charges, you would just set up one level maybe that doesn't do any house charges and doesn't do any paper checks, and that's all your customers are part of that. But if that's something you want to offer it as an enhancement to your loyalty, you can set up multiple different risk levels that allow you to, we'll just do a new one here, that maybe you want to allow these customers to charge up to $1,000. And then you would send them an invoice. You can have this check mark to send them a statement. And then any customers that have built up that you know that they'll pay you back that $1,000, you can assign this risk level to them. And you can have multiple, so like 500, 1,000, so you can have multiple different risk levels. And then you can also, if you want to get very into it, you can also charge like terms, if they have interest rates, anything like that. Then there's also checks. This is for paper checks specifically, so not electronic checks. And you can say if you accept the checks from customers or you don't accept checks from customers, or you can call a manager over. So you can set up a limit to trust these paper checks up to like $50. You can have a manager come over, verify the check, never accept checks from these customers, and always accept checks from these customers. So again, they are kind of phasing out more as electronic checks become more prevalent, but if you are taking or have people come in with checks and you don't have electronic checks set up, you can set some limits if you want to on those, so that way you have a little bit more control over who's giving those and not. So that's kind of, like I said, the basic functionality with those. You can also access those if you go under customer auxiliaries. There's your shopper level, your risk levels, and you can also set up like customer groups here as well if you want to group together your customers. The reporting aspect is now really what I wanted to take more of a deeper look at, especially with what's being offered in eCare. So that's this top section up here. So we have these new offerings with KPI, key performance indicators, segmentations, and campaigns. Offers is, I'll get into at the very end of this, that's like an additional module that you can do with targeted offers or coupons that you can offer and link directly to customers. So up here with KPI, your key performance indicators, these are some new reports that are offered, and these are really looking at like building like a marketing or kind of giving you that ability to start looking at it in that way, to try to start looking at who's coming in and shopping in your store and who's spending more money in your store, things like that. So I'm just going to go through them, kind of like highlight most of these, but for the customer mix, this will give you a look, and you can pick your time period here of how far back you want to look at. Mine set to defaultly look at a month. And what this will allow you to do is you can see who's coming in and shopping at your stores. So this will give it by visit right here, so you can see how many visits I had in that time period. I've had 16 transactions in my month. And out of those 16 transactions, 4 were loyalty customers and 12 were walk-in customers. So I don't have a lot of loyalty customers coming into my store. But out of those loyalty customers, if I go look at my sum, my dollar amount that's being spent, out of those, my loyalty is $162 was spent, and my walk-in customers only spent $131. So while I may not have as many loyalty customers coming in, the people that are coming in are spending more than the walk-in customers that are not signed up for my loyalty program. So you can start trying to get maybe offer some sign-up deals, like you sign up for a loyalty program, try to get these people to come in more often so you know that those people tend to spend more if they're doing that. You can also do some analysis down here. You can come down and analyze customers and get that list of customers that are coming in, my registered customer list, versus like that way I can see who's coming in, who's shopping over the period. You can break this down by date, by operator, by department, see who's getting more people signed up maybe by operator, things like that. Customer turnover, this is a good report if you're trying to track who's coming in and shopping, how often they're shopping. So if you're doing your customer turnover report, like this will give you, you can do a range. You can just pick your date range, pick your time period range, and this will kind of show you customers that are coming in, like your start count, how many customers came in on the period you specified, or sorry, from the previous 2 periods specified. So I did a weekly period, so the last 2 weeks. My new count, that's customers that came in this period but did not come in previously. Loss count is customers that were lost from the last 2 periods, so they came in at least in the last 2 weeks, the last period that I picked, and they came and they have not come back. Back count is they came in, they were here the previous period, so last week, and they came back this week. And variation of customers in the selected period, so I did this for the week. How many did I have that shopped this week that didn't do anything else as my variant? So my customers only came in this week. And then over here, you can see your dollar amount for members versus non-members during the period that you specified. And again, you can do an analysis. You can look at the customers that you started off with in the previous 2 periods. You can get your new customer list, your lost customer list, and back customer list, and it will generate a customer list that you can then maybe send an email to, maybe to, hey, come on back, like whatever it may be. See what customers have been coming in consistently, kind of give you that kind of data to really, like I said, this is meant for like marketing, to really track your customer spending habits and your customer shopping habits. Department impact report, this will give you a look to see what your customers are coming in and shopping. So if you have a certain department, maybe you've moved it to the front of the store, maybe you have a sale running in that department, you can run a report. You can pick that report and pick that department. So I'm just saying maybe I was doing a weekly sales on my beer department. What impact did that have in my store? So it's always easier to run the report to show you, but so I was running this I was running it sale from the 18th to the 24th. During that time period, I have 12 people come in. Out of those 12 people, nobody just shopped in the impact department. And 11 people shopped in only any other department in the store. So they could have purchased a multitude of items, but they didn't purchase anything from the beer department. And together, I had one customer come in and purchase an item from the impact department, my beer department, and another department. So this wasn't a great promotion that I'm running right now. I'm not driving any business into my store. I'm not getting anybody to purchase anything from that department, number one. And number two, they're certainly not purchasing anything else. I only have one person that bought something from beer and something from others. So it could help you look and see, maybe you need to make some changes to the sales. Maybe you need to move this department up closer to the front, something like that, to drive sales a little bit better. And then down here, you can run reports. And again, this is looking at that customer list. You can build customer lists for who's purchasing items in impact, who's purchasing items only in other departments, who's purchasing items together. And you can get you can get a list, and you can find out, maybe, like I said, offer them a deal in the impact department, like, hey, I noticed that you're coming into the store, we're offering a deal on 12 packs or all 12 packs are $10.99, whatever it may be, and you can do that from there. The same idea as the totalizer impact. It's just instead of a department, you're picking a totalizer. And then the other two down here is your inactivity report. So you can come in, you can run a report, look at anybody whose their last visit was before a certain time period, build a list, again, trying to get marketing out to those customers. And then loyalty is just going to give you like an overall loyalty view, again, by time period. So you can come in here and just kind of get that count, visit, amount. of your loyalty customers only, as opposed to the customer mix report, which is a mix of the customers. This only gives you your loyalty customers. Segmentation reports, I'm going to go over just one of them really, because they all do the same thing. It's just that they all do the same thing broken down in a different way. So what this will do is you're going to take, I usually use basket size for my sample because that's a request we get a lot, is the basket size. That's basically the size of a transaction. So we're going to go ahead and click on that, and you can pick your time period. And then what this is going to do is it's going to take all the transactions in the time period, average them together, and break them into however many segments you're dictating here. So I'm going to say 10 segments. Default, and I'm just going to do a week just to get a little bit more data. So I'm going to execute it, and basically, so it took all of my transactions from the week the period I specified, the week, and by basket size, it's averaging them out. So that way I can see the top tier. So up here, this is my top tier, my number one customer, my first segment customers. They were spending about $49.08 per basket size. And then my second tier, $32.21, and then it goes down. And then you can see the total amount that was spent and how much was spent by a frequent shopper versus a loyalty shopper. And then you can also see transaction count and item count. And you can pick this by any of the other ones that were up here. So you could do by sales, by profit, by visit. So you can get your most profitable customers, your most visiting customers, and kind of see the trends. What we tend to notice is that our frequent shoppers are going to be the ones in the higher tier. And as you go down the list, the lower tier customers tend to be non-frequent shoppers. So how do you get those people to sign up for the loyalty program? How do you get them to come in? Or how do you reward the customers that are coming in and spending the most amount of money or having the biggest basket size, if that's something you want to do? And again, you always have that analysis down here, so you can do an analysis by customer and get that list of customers in the tier that you've selected to go ahead and look to see what they're coming in, what they're purchasing, and get drilled down into the analytics of those customers. And again, like I said, I picked on basket size. All these reports do the same thing. They will, if you go through by sales, by profit, by visit, it's just which one are you focusing on. Campaigns is the other one that I wanted to kind of highlight here. So what this allows you to do is if you're running any sort of campaign, aka a sales batch in the store, there's now a little bit more analytics that you can do with that. So this is just going to give you a list of all the batches that you have in the store. But if you want to see the results of a batch, there's now a report that you can run. So you can come in and look at the results of a batch. You just come into results and you pick your batch. So I'm going to do my promotion batch. You don't have to put any dates in. It's going to pull the dates from the batch, and you can execute. And it's just going to show you how you did. So how many items did you sell that were in that sales batch, and the dollar amount that you sold during that sales batch during the period that it was active. So I didn't have to put the dates in. The start and the stop was all built in, and it will automatically pull those up. You can analyze these by items. So if you wanted to get to an item, I only had one item in my batch, but you can do an analysis by item. So that way you can really see the impact of the results of what that sales batch was able to do to drive business. They also are doing an impact report. And what that'll show you is if we go in here, and I'm just going to go ahead and pick that same batch. And again, no dates or anything like that, but this will show you the impact of what happened during and after. So before my campaign, I didn't sell anything. During, I sold at my store $144.13, and after my campaign, I only sold $9.79 of the items in there. So did that help bring people into my store? Did it actually have an impact? Am I selling more now than I was before? So before I wasn't selling anything. Now I am selling some, so it did have a good impact. This is a lab environment, so I don't have a lot of sales and I don't have a lot of customers coming in, but you can see where you can start tracking all that information to see what's going on now. So now you can actually kind of see not just how you did during the sales period when you're running a batch, but you can actually see the impact, what it was before, during, and after you're running that sales batch. And then content, you can just go in and view the content of a batch, which is nice. The last thing I did want to go through was the offers. So this is an enhancement, so this would be an additional module if you are going away from base native loyalty and you want to offer a little bit more, so you can do what we call targeted offers to customers. So all of those customer lists that I've been showing you, you can use those customer lists to look at marketing and all of that, but what you can do with targeted offers is that if you build those customer lists, you can actually build a targeted coupon specifically for that customer list. So like when we went over the basket size, or you go over profit, like if you're doing the segmentation by profit, you could do a targeted offer to your most profitable customers to reward them. Like, hey, you know, like you could just build at the base of it, it's still a coupon. It's just linked to specific customers. So you can build a targeted offer. I'm just going to go into my list of targeted offers. This will just give me like all the coupons right now that I have flagged as targeted offers in my lab. And you can build one so like $5 off your next visit. And you can use that and link that specifically to a customer. You can see that I have a few other, like a buy one, get one, or double points on your next visit. You could build a targeted coupon that will, hey, you know, like, thank you for being a loyal shopper. Then your next visit, you'll get double the points. Something like that. You can build coupons like that for them. And then what you could do is just going back over some of these reports that we've been running. We'll just go all the way back to the customer. So I have my customer list here. Let me make that a little bit bigger, sorry. And you can select these customers, and one of the actions you can actually do is you can assign an offer. And that's how you can assign these targeted offers to those customers. So going into, we'll just say like our segmentation, we'll do that segmentation report again. Always easier when I have a little bit more. So I can come down, I can do an analysis on those top customers by customer. And it brought me right to those customer IDs. So it's my customer IDs, and I can do subquery on customer and build a general list from that customer. So I can just get a list of just the customers right there. And I can target that customer. So it was one customer that shopped twice. Mary Peterson is a very frequent shopper in my store, and I can assign offers. So if I had more customers in here, you would obviously have a list of like 5, 10, what your most profitable customers are, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give her a reward. I'm going to give her a targeted offer. I'm going to assign an offer, come in, and pick. This is just going to give me a list of all those targeted offers that I had built previously. Go in and do $5 off your next visit. Click on OK. We want to add it to that customer, and then you have a little bit, like you can say you can give it just once, so you only get an offer quantity of once, and you can give a start and end date. And you can just go ahead and globally apply that to the records. I only have one. Yes. And also right from here, I can do an action, and I can also send a notification. So if you have email set up through your system, we can send an email out to that customer so they know that they now have a new targeted offer that they can come in and utilize. Going back to the offers right here, if you're familiar with setting up coupons in SMS, it's really the same idea as setting up a coupon in ThriVersA in SMS. It's just now instead, when they click on the plus to add, you're just, instead of your coupon typing electronic or manual, it's now going to be a targeted coupon, and that means this coupon will only trigger when it's linked to a customer, when you go through that process and link it specifically to a customer or group of customers. And that customer must be in the transaction, and that customer must meet the criteria still of the coupon, and it will unlink based on how many times you put in there. Just so you can see how it would look like on the front end when we're doing that. Let me just pull up my front end here. And Mary, I just had that targeted offer right here. So when you put the customer in the transaction, it will give this little starburst so that you know that they have an offer available. And if it's one that they have to clip, it'll show up in here as a clippable. I did not make it clip, but they would automatically, you can see they have the one offer that will automatically come off. They have that little offer number, and then that was just telling them that little Starburst offer. And what that means with CLIP, just to show you, is that when you're assigning the offer, where did I go with segmentation? When I assign that offer right here, I did it pretty quickly, is you can do CLIP need it, which means that the cashier would need to manually intervene and say, hey, you have an offer, click on it, do you want to use that on this transaction? Means that they don't necessarily have to use it on the transaction. That way maybe it's like a double points coupon, and they don't, oh yeah, I'm going to spend more the next time I come in to get the better benefit of the double points, so they have to clip it. So that's what that means. With that, going back on our targeted offers a little bit, there is the idea that you can come in here, you can run some reports on those targeted offers now as well. You can look at details and redemptions of those targeted offers. So you can track to see what you have out there that's still waiting to be redeemed and what has been actually redeemed already. So just so you can come up and see my redemptions, you can set up like a certain date period, you just execute, and you can see the amount and everything that has been redeemed. And then you can also come up in here and you can look at the details. We'll just go do that, of all of the targeted offers that are currently assigned, currently have been clipped, and currently are ready. So you can get a lot more analytics out there, and you can see kind of what you have out there in case you have a lot of coupons hanging out there, and you can go and remove them if necessary, or set an expiration on them if you want to, so that way the customer can't just have them kind of dangling out there forever. So that's really what I wanted to highlight with the loyalty in ThriVersA. Did we have any questions come in, Christina?
We did. So towards the beginning of the webinar, somebody asked regarding customer criteria, can you create your own fields, i.e. like wine club, e-commerce customer, things like that?
You can, there is the ability to have a custom. So if you go into down here for like a custom field, that would be something that we could help with, that you could have a custom field if you wanted to do that. For something like that, I would suggest just having a group for the wine club. You can make a group, a customer group for wine club, things like that, so that way you can group them together and actually run reports on that group and link the customers together. Just from your one example, like wine club, you might want to pull up everybody who's in the wine club. So you might want to actually have that be a specified field. But yes, they did leave this whole blank area down here for custom, where you can work with our help desk and our project team to add some custom fields if that's something you want to do.
Perfect. That was the only question that came in. Okay. So if nobody else has any other questions, then I think we're good for today. Keep in mind the next webinar is going to be on June 26th. So back to our regularly scheduled last Thursday of the month, and that one is going to be covering e-kiosk overviews. All right. Thank you, Jen, and we will talk to everybody next month.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.